Jenelle Riley, and I'm your host for today's half hour with the Afterparty. With us today are two of the wildly talented stars from the show's ensemble, Ben Schwartz, who plays Jasper, and Demetriou, who plays Walt. Thank you so much for being here. Before we get started, can you give us an overview of the show in your own words, sort of the 20-second elevator pitch? I promise not to time you. You can have more than 20 seconds.
Jamie plays a character that's an old scientist, and I play a young boy with a skateboard. We travel back in time. I end up seeing and falling in love with my mom, or she falls in love with me. But in the end, Jamie's character saves the day by controlling two little things. I go 88 miles per hour. We travel back in time, and then we both sing The Power of Love. Correct?
That'll never work.
Well, we forget, but in the past, we forget our limes.
Limes! Oh, by the way, this is a good time. Jamie is sponsored by Limes. So what was the tagline, Jamie?
Try them. They're not lemons. Sorry.
Try them. They're not lemons. Sorry. So that's Limes.
Try them is the tagline, and then the next bit is the apology that comes with all British products.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone is going to watch that version. So why don't we take a look at the trailer, and maybe that'll entice people a little more.
What? Okay. And that does make sense.
Hey, party people! Big ups to Hill Mount High. We started at the upper middle, and now we here. But for tonight, Mikasa. I mean, you know how the rest of that goes. Whoa! We're gonna live forever!
How did this all go so wrong?
Pop star, actor, and celebrity humanitarian Xavier was found dead tonight. His body discovered on the cliff during an after party for his high school reunion.
This is a murder.
What?
Any one of you could be the murderer. And I want to hear your story. The same thing could happen, but you see it in a different way. I want to hear your mind movie.
Did you see her hair? It looks like she made out with a tornado. It's just Jewish hair.
So much volume.
My goal is to find out who killed Xavier. Now, you all went to your high school reunion for what? Second chances at life? Love? Something else? I would just love it if you could just skip to the part where the murder happened.
I'm telling you a story here. I'm building character arcs, dynamics.
Everybody here hated Xavier.
He's the worst. I'm gonna have sex with your ex.
Dude, 6 years old.
Daddy, I love him. Everyone seems to think you did it.
Everyone. It's all anyone's talking about. Sorry, you're you. That's not fun.
Any one of us could snap.
What? Who?
Whoa!
You want to confess to a murder? Because we need to know who killed him tonight. Bam.
Everybody seems to be hiding something.
What is going on?
We're done here.
Yeah, but you didn't even know that was fake, and you straight up just chopped off his head.
Remember that.
Trying to figure out where the time travel comes in, but I guess they want to save that for the
I guess.
actual show.
The whole trailer is one big red herring. It was a very expensive red herring. None of that is in the show. None of those actors are in the show.
Jamie, can you do me a favor? I know this is unusual. Janelle, do you mind if you throw me a lime real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
You ready?
Ready? 1, 2. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. For me, this is great because I really wanted it. So thank you very much.
That's amazing. So the after party comes to us from Chris Miller and Phil Lord. And Ben, I know you've worked with them before. So when they ask you to do anything, is an automatic yes?
Yes, I am. I've loved them since Cloudy and Clone High. So like on my list of directors, when people ask who you want to work with, they were always on my top 5 list. Huge fan of Lego Movie, huge fan of Spider-Verse, huge fan of their television stuff and 21 Jump Street. So I was in Lego Movie Part 2 as a banana, which I have up there somewhere. And I said a couple lines, was very exciting. And then Chris had emailed me and asked me if I wanted to be a part of this. And it didn't even matter. It didn't matter what the role was or what I was going to do. And I was going to say yes anyway. It's like a dream come true to play with those guys.
What did he tell you about Jasper, if anything, or did he just send you a script?
How spoilery are we getting, Janelle? Are we going full spoilery?
I think we can. I mean, I think everyone's seen the show, unless a disembodied voice tells me
Jamie?
differently.
Have you? Jamie has not. I knew Jamie didn't yet.
He saw his.
Please.
Jamie, I know. Jamie, mind if I throw this line back to you real quick? Ready?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
1, 2, 3.
Ooh.
Change color.
My God. What?
What?
I got an email, and from the email, it was Chris Miller saying, "Hey, I have this TV show that I was thinking of you for the roles," and I was like, "Oh, this is so kind." And then he said, "It's a murder mystery. I love murder mysteries." And he said, "It's kind of a Rashomon type thing where the story unfolds by people telling their side of the story in every episode, and every episode is told in a different genre. There's going to be a romantic comedy. There's going to be a high school type party thing, and then mine was a musical." He said, "You're going to have musical, full songs and dances." And I was so excited. And because we're here being spoileries, in the email, and he said, "And now something that you're about to know that nobody else knows is that you're the killer." So he told me the first email I ever got. And then he said, "Do you think you'd be interested in something like this?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." He had me on, "Hey, it's Chris Miller." I would have said yes. But I love musicals. By the way, Jamie is an incredible singer, but I love singing and dancing. And then I also love, I love the end of a murder mystery when the person like gives their big "I did it" speech. I love those confessional moments. And so I really was excited to do all that. So it was like both very exciting and incredibly terrifying, but it was the best.
It's very telling. It's very telling that Ben loves those moments because the world stood still for about like 4 hours while he was doing his. It was unbelievable. It was truly like, yeah, I've never seen someone so immersed in something. It was amazing.
You're very kind, Jamie.
Thank you, by the way.
Of course.
Did the rest of the cast know who the killer was at the start? Because I don't know if you know this, but if you type the After Party into Google, one of the first things that comes up is Walt did it. And a lot of people really thought Walt did it for a long time. Did you think you did?
I still think there's a chance. Look, I think that the big confession is in itself the big red herring. I think that I don't know I don't even think I shot it, but I think if you were to really, really slow down the credits, you'll just see a quick snap of me saying, "It was me, sorry," in an English accent, weirdly. But no, we did know, right? I mean, we had to read the scripts to find out, basically. So we were all like in the process of doing that right at the beginning of it. And then it was like getting to the end. It was, yeah, unbelievable. But honestly, because of the way that they work and they like to sort of, bring a kind of like creative vibe to the process, there was part of me that thought that even though they told me it wasn't me, reading the scripts, I was like, oh, so this is okay. This is gonna be me on the last page. But whoa, not. But at the same time, I do think Jasper's the perfect person for it.
And did you know Chris and Phil at all? How did the project come to you, and how did they sort of describe Walt to you?
I mean, it was a very traditional audition process in as much as it was self-tape, etc. But the difference was the second I did the audition during a very firm lockdown in the UK, which, the prospect of going away or doing anything like that felt sort of terrifying. But then I heard Lord and I ran to America. It was enough. I've been, like Ben said, like immediate top fivers, and those two have their own stamp that they take with them everywhere they go, and it's a stamp of like more than quality, it's nuance and everything that comes with it. So yeah, I hadn't worked with them, but I felt like from watching all the stuff they've made in the past, I mean, Into the Spider-Verse, I feel like it's one of the best films ever made. I feel like it's completely reinvented the idea of what an animation and otherwise what a film could be. So, being able to, get that offer through once I did the audition was life-changingly exciting.
Also, a thing to remember is that Jamie, it was the worst. There was no vaccine yet. Jamie was coming from England, which in itself was like a difficult thing to even maneuver, getting someone from England over. Then he had to come here, quarantine, and and he was like by himself during a pandemic in a different country, and it was his birthday immediately after he got here. I remember being like, God, this must be the beginning of that experience was such a unique experience with the pandemic. And then the idea that this very lovely, funny person just came from a different country, is totally by himself, and has to deal with it I was like, oh man, that'd be a tough one to juggle. And he was amazing. Jamie's unbelievable in it.
Thank you very much.
For Walt, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, right. Do you know what? You're so right. Yeah. I definitely didn't remain at peak sanity the entire time. Christmas Day alone in an Airbnb, sort of watching, I think I watched Soul 4 times in one day, just to try and see if I could spot the meaning of life anywhere in there. I think I might have found it. But it was incredibly lucky that, in the face of this quite bizarre scenario, anytime I got to set, I was surrounded by fairly objectively the funniest, nicest people in the world. So it was a lot more good than scary. Being able to share our kind of process with each other and share stories and anecdotes and like our anxieties about everything. It was just amazing. It was so useful and enlightening.
I love that you went totally method for this and isolated yourself and came in as a stranger. I am curious, did this show make you think at all about your own high school experiences? Like, the funny thing is, if I was to say I was like any one character, it would be a combination of Jasper and Walt. Like, I probably thought I was the Jasper, but I was more of a Walt.
Right.
Like the most.
And what are you now, Jenelle? What do you think you've grown into? Which character would you identify with?
I don't think I've grown at all.
You're still Walt and Jasper.
I think I'm pretty much the same.
It made me think about high school a bit. I always went to public schools and was in New York, and I don't know. I had a pretty good. I kind of did a little bit of everything. I never understood people that were like the jocks or the nerds, because I was kind of. I loved video games, loved them, but I also played basketball. But then I was in all county chorus. Like and I was a mathlete. Like I kind of love the idea of, I just always love the idea of like being friends with different groups of people, different humans and stuff like that. So, but the best part about high school and college, that now that you're an adult, is like, there is just no responsibility. Like, you're just trying to like get your work done for school and then hang out with your friends and then learn how to be a human being. So I remember that when I was in college, it was like, we would go to work, but then we would go, and the place where we eat, we would go to school, and the place where we eat, you walk there and it's on campus, and the place where you play basketball, you walk there and then you sleep, and it's just like the easiest thing in the universe. And then when you get older, you realize like, oh, I gotta like wait till they invent Postmates. So it's been very exciting.
Yeah, on what Ben's saying about the lack of responsibility, I mean, I think personally my relationship to Walt in terms of my school life is he was probably my kind of spirit animal. Like, he kind of existed somewhere within me, but I was putting on enough of a front to not freak people out in the way that Walt does. But I think that it's so interesting, isn't it? It does make you think about it in terms of the lack of responsibility you had then compared to now, in that it's like, I wish I'd known how little my responsibility was at the time. It's like you think the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And
that's right.
And that this is like the most significant time. It's like, honestly, do anything and everything. And I think the funny thing about Walt is that he had that experience where he was so locked in himself and he couldn't say anything. And the traditional thing to do would be to have him come back, to his reunion, and he's changed and he's trying to make amends, as he intends to do in the after party, but he actually sort of is worse, if anything. He is. It's so bold to have like this character who's made zero progress, like nothing. Like, I found it, but that is sort of the thing that I found funniest. It's like this, this cinematic version of himself that he has in his head, who kind of rocks up and streaks and blows everyone's mind, but he's not considered for 1 second how he's going to go about giving that impression to people. He's just like, well, it's going to happen because that's what happens in movies. That's the way I sort of thought about him.
And I know, as you mentioned, you shot this during COVID times, but it's so many talented people in a room together. Was it as much fun as it looks? Because I just have to imagine it was a blast.
It was the best. It was the best. And everybody was so kind Everybody was so happy to be around each other. And we're with like, you know, people that I've always found funny, like Sam Richardson, I've always found funny, but never worked with him. I watched Staff before, or when Jamie came in, they told me like, oh, you got to watch Staff Let's Flats. I was like, what's that? And the Jamie show. And I watch it and I'm like, I am floored by how good Jamie is. And then I get to play with Jamie and we get to improvise and we get to find moments and you get to play with all the people that Jamie said it. Everybody's like the funniest person, arguably one of, you know, the funniest people, and they're all creators and they're all writers. So when we're getting into it, it's just like fun and collaborative, and there was never a competition, and it was always like, what could make this scene the funniest? It wasn't like, who's going to get the funny sentence? It's going to be like, all right, I'll set you up to do this and you can set me up to do this. And so it was heaven. And one of my favorite shoots that I've ever been a part of was the after party.
Same. Easily.
I am curious because you both have created your own work as well. Is it sort of a vacation to be on a set like this and just be an actor?
Yes. Yeah, it's great. Truly, I find writing a slog at best. And yeah, I mean, not just being on any set, you know, like Ben was saying about, you know, having wanted to work with people. These are people that not only I wanted to work with, but I just assumed I never would because of that big sea between all of us. And yeah, it was, it really felt like a true kind of like vacation from the norm. I felt like I was sort of stepping into like my favorite new show, like in the TV. It was amazing. And it also like allows you to think way more about, I'm so used to thinking about everyone's character in my show and like what the right thing for them to do is. And it felt so nice to truly take a back seat and just really focus on what I was doing and get lost in this very weird, like monosyllabic silent character.
Mm.
Although you, as I said, you have so many funny people, so many talented improvisers. At the same time, on top of being a very funny show, you know, the mystery really pays off and it has to be intricately plotted. So how much improvising were you allowed to get away with?
I think that the way that Chris structured it is that I think also for like people who've been doing improv for a while, you never want to go beyond your constraints. Like if Jamie and I are doing a scene, it's not going to be this, and oh, here comes a monster. You know what I mean? You don't want to like make something insane happen. You know what you're trying to do. You know the confines of what you're trying to do. And so he would give us room to play, and then we just trusted him that Chris and Phil would pick the perfect takes. But you learn where you can improvise and where you can't. When it's something that's a plot point and you need to get this information out, you want to get it out as succinctly and cleanly as you can. But you know there could be flourishes at the beginning or the end.
Well, actually, why don't we take a look at a second clip so we can see you both in action?
A second clip?
St. Patrick's Day, 2006. My God. The time of the Lord jumpsuits, Brittany and K-Fed, and I'd started making honey that year as a hobby. Damn, there was a buzz in the air that morning. College acceptances, our futures, and best of all, my parents were out of town. I turned to my lab partner, Brett. I said, spread the word. We're having a party. Tonight's party is gonna blow people's minds.
Dude, who are you talking to? You do Latin homework?
No. You think Berkeley gives a fart about our Latin homework? Dude, you got it to Stanford. You don't have to do anymore. Watch this. Get out of here!
I mean, I didn't work.
Yeah, yeah.
They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty.
Oh my God, look at Eugene thinking he's a pimp with his new car.
Now, aside from those amazing wigs that we just saw, I'm curious.
Janelle, no wig on me, my friend. Come now.
I wondered, actually, but
we just pulled it all forward.
It was like, I remember it taking like an army.
And Sam might have not been wearing a wig either. Maybe he was.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't think he was, you know. I don't think he was. I think it was, I think Lamar, shout out to Lamar, who was on our
Incredible
makeup
hair.
He did hair. He was, one of the best guys around. He's so good.
You must have had an incredible below the line team because the poor script supervisor. I mean, I imagine you're shooting 8 episodes, sometimes repeating scenes, but in different genres and points of view. Was it confusing for you?
Yeah. I remember Sam Richardson coming up to me and us like having a chat, and I was thinking about the scene that had just happened, and he went, I think we were doing something, so we had to think about perspective, like who would have seen what. So if it's in a person's memory, will they have seen a certain thing? And I remember going up to Sam and being like, would you have seen me doing this, and should I do it in the background? And he was like, this is your episode. We were often shooting till 3 o'clock in the morning. So it did on occasion happen that I didn't know whose memory we were in, and I had to really recalibrate. But we did have an unbelievable team to help us through that. I was jet lagged for about 3 months.
There's also moments where it's like, okay, Jack, what Jamie was saying, okay, so if this is Sam's episode, that means this is what he believes I'm doing and how I'm acting. Also, Sam doesn't know that I'm the murderer right now. And then, so like, there's all these little things that we kind of had to do. And then me specifically, I like tried to like put little things throughout so you can kind of follow the breadcrumbs and see that I'm guilty a little bit. So it's like to juggle all that. But there are a lot of times when I'd be like, Chris is like, okay, let's set up this show. I'm like, okay, no, Chris, this is Jamie's episode, so that means that this is real, and he thinks this about me. And Chris was like the homeland, with all the things, all the little red lines touching each other, and was able to know everything on the spot. But also think about talking about the crew. We had an incredible camera team. Our camera A was a guy named Neil, and Andy was his AC, and then we had an incredible Carl was our DP, and he created a different. It was incredible. He created a different lighting scheme for every character's episode, every one. And then Daniel Pemberton, who's a genius composer, had a different. Everybody had their own score. Like it's remarkable the things that they did for this. And then some of the episodes we're all young in this one, so everybody has to get young. And then it's all animated, or now we're all dancing, or you know what I mean. So it's like. They juggled so much. It really is it shows how when you have a lot of talented people, not actors, but the crew and everybody working together to make something, it becomes something special.
And Ben, for the Jasper episode, you have to learn like 3 full-on musical numbers, and they're good.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
I mean, the songs are really good. They're catchy.
It was crazy. I got hired and then immediately got an email being like, okay, so we're filming in whatever week, so we need you to record the songs now because we're filming your musical stuff first. So you hear the songs, you got to learn them. And so like I would learn them and then record them. And then a person named Fiora Cutler would help me with vocal stuff to teach me exactly how to hit all the notes. And then I had a choreographer named Kat Burns. Like it was incredible. So like, and also it's a testament to Chris, because these things, which would take, each music video should take like 2 or 3 days to shoot. He shot them all in a half day each or something like that. And Jamie, I don't even know, by the way, one of the funniest moments, I haven't had a lot of interview moments with Jamie yet, so it makes me happy to talk about how incredible he is. But the rap that we all do, the 2 Shot song that Jamie's in as well, Jamie was brought to set. We had rehearsed with Kat and the dancers and stuff like that. Jamie was never shown the dance or anything. So in the background of that, Jamie is literally, his character is supposed to have no idea what's going on, but in real life, he had, I'll let you tell, but I don't think you had any idea what was happening, right?
No, I wasn't even booked for that scene at all. Like we had our schedule pretty far in advance, and I'm like, okay, so that'll be a day off, and the next day they're like, oh, you're in tomorrow. And I look on the thing and it says just like big dance number, 2 shots, Jasper. I was like, I guess they want me like sat in the bleachers, like watching or something. I don't know. And then I turn up and Chris is like, so you're in the dance? I was like, and I remember hearing for like the past 2 weeks, everyone's been going to choreography like every now and again in the evenings and like coming out sweaty, like, wow, that was great. And I was like, I've been accidentally left out of the choreography, so I guess I'm going to sit this one out. And he was like, no, you're in it. It's important that you don't know what it is. I think that the moment, and the dance team and what Kat Burns did, everyone was so unbelievably professional and impressive. I think my eyes, it wasn't sadness or happiness, but as soon as everyone started dancing for the first time, like a flash mob, I just started crying. tears just burst out of my eyes because I was like so overwhelmed by the weirdness of the situation. Just being in a room where every single person knows exactly what they're doing apart from you. I mean,
it's a nightmare. That's an actual nightmare I've had about acting.
It was crazy, but it also like speaks to the genius of Chris that, you know, on a production that big, he's like still playing kind of like, I don't know, process games like that actually ended up being really helpful. I kind of think that it's crucial sometimes to truly not know something if you want to not know it in the show.
They really went out of their way to treat you like Walt.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm trying to apply all this kind of like process logic to it, but the reality is they were just bullying the hell out of me and trying to make me feel small.
So we always like to ask our guests, just in case someone hasn't had a chance to start watching the After Party, or if you want them to watch it a second time, what's the one thing that comes to mind that might entice them to give it a viewing?
I would say I don't even think we've really like touched on this, but the fact that it's this, you know, a murder mystery. If you love a murder mystery, you're of course going to love this because it's an unbelievable murder mystery. But the genre bending, the fact that every episode is a different genre. I know we've touched on this briefly, but it's like, yes, they do it, but they're not just doing it. They're like the best directors and team in the world doing it. So you get like the juiciest version of those genres. And it's like, you know, with a lot of comedy stuff, I think people like to kind of parody a genre and kind of do like a lame version of it. They just do like incredible versions of each genre. So, you know, it's constantly reset in a way that keeps it so fresh and exciting. And, you know, I guess that is like plenty to be getting excited about.
I agree. I think the idea that it's so funny, but also has a through line. I've never been on a show before where I've received so many texts where people are like, okay, I think it's Walt and this is why. Or, you know what I mean? It's like people caring about what happens in the show is so exciting. I've never been a part of that where it's like people are really caring. And there's clues in every episode. There's puzzles in every episode. The cast is Tiffany Haddish, Sam Richardson, Jamie Demetriou, and then it's me, Sam Richard, it's me, Dave Franco, and Zoe Chow. Loving You. It's like the cast is unbelievable, led by two of the most creative people in our business. And they just really, they went for it. And Apple TV Plus gave us the opportunity, like, they let them really go for it. These genres, exactly what Jamie said, they look like it. The musical is like, we got 50 dancers, and they're incredible dancers. They're professional dancers. And so the whole process was amazing. I'm really proud of it. And if you're watching it for the first time, I really hope you didn't just find out who did it at the beginning of this. But if you want to watch it again, there are little clues throughout by the killer, and also there are puzzles in every single episode. In the there's one puzzle in every episode in the background. So there's so much to find, and you can kind of, once you know who it is, you can follow that person. You could really see like the little hints that they left behind. And also, one of the things I tell my friends to do are, if Jamie's in a scene in the background, watch him for the whole scene. Don't even watch what's happening, because it will be so fucking funny. Yeah. I tell everybody that if you see Jamie in a scene, even if he seems to be in the background, he'll make you laugh. He will make you laugh.
You still have your lines?
Oh, can you throw me a line real quick?
Yeah, sure. You got one?
Yeah. Well, I want one. I don't have one.
You throw them both to me?
No, I mean,
can we throw them both to you?
Janelle, we can.
Okay.
We'll throw both of our lines to you. Ready?
Okay.
Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 3. Well, you said.
Oh, wait. That's the After Party on Apple TV Plus. Thank you to our friends at Apple TV Plus and to Ben and Jamie for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching this half hour with.